Hey guys, America's Baseball Camps. This is Ben here, just touching base in regards to watching your swing and motion analysis work on your mechanics of hitting. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's talk about our stance from our feet to our head. And the first things I want to do is tweak a couple things. Let's go ahead and go with our knees. Knees to be bent a little bit more. Our feet not turned out. We need them turned in a little bit. And I want to get more athletic when we're in our stance. I think that's going to help you get more into the baseball and be more consistent, get more power, and just be more athletic in your stance. I think it's a little bit too upright and tall, and I really want you to get down in that kind of ready position with a little bit more bend in the knees. The feet, you can see they're slightly turned out. Let's turn them in a little bit. I think that's going to be important for you to moving forward. The other thing I would focus on is your hand position. I would take your hands from where they're at, and I would just raise them up a little bit, and I would change the bat angle to be this way. And what's happening right now is when our bat is that tall, we have a tendency to be underneath the ball or not be consistent, just really approaching that bat path of that line, and that's really important. So take your hands, kind of put them in this area, and turn that bat angle there, and just get yourself in a good launch position. So I think those are the things for getting yourself more athletic. Toes are in, raise the hands a little bit, and your bat angle to be turned a little bit by that green line compared to being tall. I do like how your eyes are on the baseball, and that's really good in regards to that. So now with that, let's go into getting ourselves what's called our land foot. So we'll get ourselves loaded up here, and I keep going frame by frame. One thing you do a really good job of is you do land closed, and that's really good. To hit against a closed, firm front side, you can see that front foot really getting yourself firm and closed instead of pointing that toe at the pitcher. A big thing we have to work on is I want you to key off of this bottom arm right here. What you'll see is when that front foot lands, that thing is straightened out, and we really need to focus on working on that. Needs to be bent at this point because this is going to make us casting or outside the ball or long to the baseball. And you can see if I go back and forth, you want to keep that kind of bend. You can see right there's a nice bend, but then as I go to step, that gets locked out, and this is going to make us really long to the baseball. So what I would focus, because at this point of your swing, you still want to have a nice arc in your hands right there, and that's really important to do that, to keep that nice angle, nice and firm. And then as you get yourself in a launch position, to keep that arc. And that's going to get us short to the ball and long through it. Right now we're long to the ball and short through it. And I want to be short to the ball and long through it. So a good drill to do for this is at this point of your swing, do some soft toss or put a tee or anything where you're going to keep that angle in your arms and just rest it on your shoulders. So if I get to this point, you just want to kind of rest that bat on my shoulders here and keep this good arc. And basically you're just going to extend your arms out in front. But you don't want to look like this with this bottom arm until you're actually out in front over here and to be at contact. You can see right now that your extension back here. And we're obviously not hitting the ball back here, so you need to be extension out here because it's going to make us get really long to the baseball. And I think that's really important. So really something to focus on is to keep that angle of that arm, that bottom arm, and then have an extension right before contact, just like barely before contact. It's really important to do that. So just something to be aware about. Let's go into land foot. So when I go into land foot, you can see that arm gets us a little bit, you do bring him back in a little bit, but you can see that hands are falling below. At this point of our swing, we should have full rotation in our hips. You can see this hip didn't get all the way turned, and that back side didn't get turned at all. So at this point of your swing, you want your back hip and your front hip to actually match. So this back hip actually needs to get all the way up here towards this front hip. And that's going to be and then what that's going to do, that's naturally going to take this back foot, and that's going to rotate this. Your front side is perfect in regards to that really closed, firm front side. You're going to get the ball a little bit, you're trying to reach for it, and that barrel is kind of dragging on you. So keep that barrel up nice and high to work kind of downhill to it. Right now we're kind of be underneath it, and you want to keep that barrel up. But as far as for your front side, it looks really good. You can see right there that we don't get totally turned with that back side. So really release that backside, let it come through, let that hip come through, and really go into that firm front side, which you do such a good job at. But you can see at the end of our swing, you do it a little bit later, but we need to do that at contact so you really stay through that baseball. And so you can really be more aggressive. I want to create some more power for your swing to really get that backside into the front side. Let's go into another swing here. Again, when the arm's locked, we have a tendency to drop those hands. You can see again that that arm has locked out on you, that bottom hand, and that's pretty important to not do that until contact, because what that does is it drops your hand. You can see how your hands get nice and low. Already at this point, the barrel is below our hands, which we don't want. At this point, you still want your hands to be up in this area and the bat angle actually working here, so you can work downhill to the baseball. But you can see right now that this is going to come sideways, and I'm going to begin to kind of push through the ball, and I'm going to be underneath it. You can see how my bat angle's here, and I'm going to be more of a lift compared to a drive. Right here, your barrel should be going this way to really drive the baseball down and through compared to getting underneath it and trying to kind of lift it out there. It's going to make a big difference in regards to your power difference when we can really start driving the baseball better and getting that more weight behind the ball. So this one, you did a better job of that backside coming through, though. So good job on that. You can see your hips turned a little bit better and your backside still a very close, firm front side, which is good. So in this one, it's more of just that bottom arm not being able to lock out on you. Let's see how the finish looks. You can see at the end, we've got to hold that finish here, really extend and turn that body, turn that backside. Let's back up here a couple swings. To really be aggressive through that baseball, to really explode through that ball, taking that back hip into your front hip. Again, make sure that that bat angle, you can see it's nice and tall. Let's get those hands up in this area a little bit, with a little bit of angle that way. And that's just important to do that. So let's go ahead and go to land foot here and take a peek. Closed front side, locked out that bottom arm. I think we need to just keep that nice and bent to work on that drills for soft toss. That when you kind of reach forward a little bit, that was just like that one before. So just really, those are the 4 or 5 things that I see that we need to do over and over again with that stance. It's going to help you have a more opportunity to be consistent and successful to that bottom arm, to that bat angle of working downhill. And that one you hit really well. That was one of your better swings, but still after contact, we don't release that backside. You kind of do a half turn. So it's good to really swing and finish and hold your finish, I think is also a good thing. So those are some things that I would work on personally. Hope you had a great time at camp. We wish you the best this season, and we look forward to seeing you back soon to see how you did. Have a great season.